You made a way. And we're standing here only because you made a way. You made a way. Now we're here. We're looking back on where we come from. Because of you and nothing we've done to deserve the love and mercy you've shown. But your grace was strong enough to pick us up, and you made a way. When our backs were against the wall and it looked as if it was over, yes, you made a way. And we're standing here only because you made, oh Father, you made a way. When our backs were against the wall and it looked as if it was over, yes, you made a way. And we're standing here only because you made a way. Oh, and you move mountains, you cause walls to fall with your power. You perform miracles. There is nothing that's impossible. And we're standing here only because you move mountains. You cause walls to fall with your power. You perform miracles, and there is nothing that's impossible. And we're standing here only because you move mountains. You cause walls to fall with your power. You perform miracles, and there is nothing that's impossible. And we're standing here only because you made. Oh, we're standing here only because you made. We're standing here only because you made a way. You made a way. Oh, you made a way. Father, you made a way. Oh, you made a way.
Class of 2020, we've made it. We're here. And we know that this is because God is always near. We have gone through different parts of our educational journeys, taking our studies seriously, preparing for tests quarterly, writing papers and projects almost daily, but keeping in mind there were times that we fell. At times, our tears and our fears could blind, and we questioned if we could succeed, if we could even achieve, if we could
Class
even
of 2020,
do what we had set our minds to do.
We're here.
So
And we
in
know
those
that
periods of time, How can or did we have gone through different parts of our educational journey, and it is He who taking our studies seriously, our family, preparing for tests, our quarterly, and writing papers and projects almost daily. Were our simple, keeping in mind there were times that we fell. They motivated us to succeed, to work to the finish line, and it is this that holds us up when we are down. Therefore, our tears and our fears could way to receiving that crown, we were reminding that nothing could keep us bound. So we studied and we learned, internally awaiting the day where we could celebrate. We looked forward to a day filled with success, with happiness, with unspeakable joy that could only come when our chapter would end with our best. But our class is very unique because while our fantasies for the day have indeed been rewritten, we have to remember that the bigger picture is still the very same. That still there is something more that we are working for. So what is that bigger picture? If we could even do God's purpose for us. We all are equipped with and we certain talents internally awaiting the day where we can do flawlessly. We another person to a day filled with success, with as we happiness, with unspeakable joy that could only let us remember when our chapter we have been fearfully and wonderfully made. That is that God bigger took picture. The time to make us, create us, God's and mold purpose. Us. So we are His handiwork. God's and our life is to be used as a testament to the God that we serve. We all are equipped with certain talents and certain skills, things you can do flawlessly, another person can struggle to fulfill. So as we continue to grow and as we continue to learn, let us remember that we have been fearfully and wonderfully made, that God took the time to make us, create us, and mold us. So we are His handiwork, and our life is to be used as a testament to the God that we serve.
Pastor Derek.
At this point, so at this point, we are going to introduce our speaker for today. And our speaker for today is someone who has been a blessing to the education department over the last couple of years.
I hereby introduce the church pastor to commence also.
Hello?
Ashley, can you take over? Kiss me if she is coming through vMix, we are not hearing her.
Hello?
She's having technical difficulties.
Hello?
Well,
Hello?
do you want me to introduce the speaker?
Hello?
Okay, Mom, bear with us for a few minutes, please.
Hello? Can I be heard? Can everyone hear me? Oh, hello.
Yes. Are you okay?
Can can I be heard?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So sorry for the technical difficulties, guys. As much as we practice, you see that things still go however they go. So at this portion, I'm going to actually introduce our speaker for today. And this individual has been someone who has blessed the education department over the last couple of years. This is an individual who has great knowledge for so many different subjects, so many different things, and has been a handful um, individual who has brought so many people so far. So today we have a special someone called Michelle Ofori who's going to bring us a special word to not just those graduating, but to everyone. Just talking about what's next. So at this moment, we'll have Sister Michelle Ofori come on and talk to us.
Thank you, Ashley, for that kind introduction. And thank you to the Education Department for inviting me to speak today. It is a personal pleasure and a true honor to be your guest speaker. Hello, everyone, and a special hello to the graduates of the class of 2020. Let me take this moment to wholeheartedly congratulate each and every one of you today. You graduated, you did it, you made it, congratulations. My special congratulations extends also to the parents, guardians, aunts, uncles, grandparents, siblings, and everyone who helped to bring these graduates to this point. Thank you. I'm absolutely certain that this set of circumstances this year is not at all what you dreamt your graduation would look like, or what the world would look like when you graduated. But don't let this environment or current state of affairs of the world right now diminish 1 ounce of what you've achieved. The quiet hours you spent studying in the library, the relentless loss of sleep as you pulled all-nighters to finish your assignments, your unforgettable field trips, and the time spent with friends, the endless bargaining for lunch money, your arguments in gym class, and the tears you shed as you handed in that terrifying test. It took hard work and dedication and breaking through a lot of barriers to get you here. You have earned it. And now you're poised to launch into whatever is next for you. And if you're like most of us, the question you might be asking, and that probably absolutely everyone is asking you over and over and over again right now, is what is next? What is ahead? And where do you go from here? Most of us have been trained from the earliest years for a highly structured life of next, from elementary to middle to high school, then college, from SAT to college applications, junior varsity to varsity, from internship to job. These guardrails may be restrictive, but they are also safe. With goals predefined, the anxiety of uncertainty is stripped away. However, this year has taught us, if it has taught us anything, it is to expect the unexpected. You, the class of 2020, are graduating into a moment of unprecedented crisis and uncertainty. In our lives before the pandemic, we made solid schedules, which gave us a sense of control. We knew what things would happen and could strategize accordingly. There was order in our lives. There was certainly no certainty in knowing that things were set in time and would happen as planned. COVID-19 has turned our lives upside down. More than 9,000 Americans have died. Tens of millions are out of work. Entire industries have crumbled. COVID-19 and the economic shockwaves it has unleashed has hammered Americans of all ages. And just as things seem to be calming down, we are now being faced with racial unrest, which is causing other restrictions on our autonomy. No longer do we count on our plans. Gone is our sense of control, and simply we do not know what tomorrow will bring. So during these tumultuous times, it can be hard to make plans for the future. So many aspects of everyday life have been suddenly cast into doubt in ways that the previous graduating class did not have to imagine. Will schools be open in the fall? Will there be face-to-face classes? Will there be adequate testing? Will you have a job? Will your dream career still exist? There is so much uncertainty. In truth, there always has been. Situated demographically on the leading edge of Generation Z, most you graduates were in daycare, and some of you were in pre-kindergarten on 9/11. Your childhood has been punctuated by school shootings and catastrophic climate change. You have lived through the Great Recession, and now you're stepping into the world upended by COVID-19. I wish I could tell you the path forward. I don't. I wish I could tell you I knew the path forward. I don't. What I do know is the same courage and willpower that got you to graduation. All those things are the very things that are going to sustain you through whatever is coming. It is vital that you learn, and we all learn, to be at peace with discomfort of stepping into the unknown. It's really okay not to have all the answers. The answers will come for sure. If you can accept not knowing long enough, to get still and stay still long enough for new thoughts to root in your quiet, deeper, truer self. Although there is so much uncertainty in this season of your lives, what is certain is that you are graduates this year. Did you know that the word graduate derives from the Latin word gradus, meaning a step towards something? Every one of you, the class of 2020, is now being called to step towards something, to be the class that commenced a new way forward. Even though they may not be pumped because of our circumstances, never has a class been called to step into the future with more purpose, more vision, passion, energy, and hope. I know you may not feel like it, but you are indeed the chosen class for such a time as this, the class of 2020. So class of 2020, what will you step toward? Is it the start of a new job, the beginning of another 10 years of education, the birth of a new idea, company, or social movement, or the start of an entirely new life? Whatever it is, every one of you is being called to temper the parts of yourself that must fall away, to refine who you are, how you define success, and what is genuinely meaningful. So when everybody is asking you what is next, first take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Let what you've already accomplished sink in, and then sit back and think about what fires you up. And as you are thinking, here's some advice to guide you as you answer the important and often difficult question, what's next? Number one, seek the Lord. Matthew 6:33 says, "But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." So above everything, seek the Lord in life. Seek the Lord first. What is your major goal? Is it knowing yourself or knowing God? The reason most people have trouble in life is because they're so self-absorbed and so self-focused. But when you get your eyes off of you and on God, life changes for the better. The more we seek God and come to know him, the better off we will be in all areas of our life. Knowing God is the key to a better life. Number two, life is filled with failures. You will have many of them. So be prepared to learn from them and move forward. Failure is not a step backward. It's an excellent stepping stone towards success. You will never learn to move out of your comfort zone if you do not overcome your fear of failure. You must not let successes get to your head, but you must not also let failure consume your heart. Know that sometimes, actually most of the times, things are not going to go as planned, and that's perfectly okay. For many youth and young adults, it is easy to simply give up when things don't work out. But if there is one thing you shouldn't do, it is just that. Don't give up, because the reality is you're going to fail. So make sure failure is part of your narrative, and celebrate your rejections. Let it all hang out. You failed. Everyone fails. Failure is a necessary part of your journey. Everyone who has been successful has stumbled many times over. Thomas Edison was literally and figuratively in the dark after 999 unsuccessful attempts to discover the light bulb. And yet history tells us that he did not see his failures as a waste of time. Instead, he believed that they only proved 999 ways that would not work. until he came up with one that did. And then there's Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, who once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost 300 games. 26 times I have been trusted to take over the winning game shot and missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed." So just as these legends before you, you will discover that you will come to find that you will learn more from failure than success. That's because someone who survives failure has gained irreplaceable knowledge and the unstoppable perseverance born from overcoming hardship. So when you encounter failure, remember these three things. One, failure is a redirection. It shows you where you shouldn't be. Failure is an opportunity. It's a chance to reevaluate and come back stronger with better reasoning. And three, failure is not fatal. No matter how hard it may be, know that failure simply means you get another shot to try it all over again. And finally, number three, continue to learn. Education is a never-ending endeavor. Earlier on, my parents made it clear to my siblings and I that a good education was the key to success in life. As is often the case, I've learned that my parents were right. Education exposes us to the world, what the world has to offer, to the possibilities open to you. It teaches you how to navigate your profession and life in general. For me, education opened my eyes to what I could become. Education enriches you as a person. I often ask kids to identify the most important person they have met. Unsurprisingly, they identify a person who speaks about his or her worth with knowledge and inspires others to consider a new idea or perspective. Education expands your knowledge and your ability to relate to the world. Education helps you to think critically, to argue persuasively, and to think about things from many different perspectives. These abilities, in turn, also help you to navigate the difficulties that life presents, to map the problems on a broader understanding of how things work. For each of you, different courses and topics you studied will help you navigate your lives in different ways. Whichever ways these are for you, I know that they have and will help you on your journey because education empowers you to grow behind the limits you once knew, and it takes you beyond the places and ways of thinking you already know and exposes you to the greater potential that exists in the world. So when everyone is asking you what's next, first, take a deep breath. What's behind you is a huge accomplishment. Second, seek the Lord first in everything you do. After all, he made you and knows what's best for you. Third, failure is a part of life. It's the very fundamental that all life is built upon. And fourth, continue to learn. Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful tool or weapon which you can use to change the world. I leave you with this blessing from the book of Jeremiah 17, verse 8. May you be like a tree planted by water that sends out its roots by the stream and does not fear when heat comes, for its leaves remain green, and it is not anxious in the year of drought, for it does not cease to bear fruit. Right now, you may feel uncertain. You might feel lost and upset, but mark these words. COVID-19 is not going to stand in the way of your hopes and dreams. Things will improve, and as they do, you will too. So class of 2020, I charge you to be world changers because you are meant for more. Henry David Thoreau, the 19th century abolitionist and poet, once sadly put it like this: the majority of people lead lives of quiet desperation and go to the grave with their songs still in them. Resist having your song silenced. Refuse to be defined by your circumstances. Sing your song, dare your dream, live your life, and be the more God meant you to be. So class of 2020, congratulations and Godspeed.
Thank you so much, Sister Michelle. At this portion of our program, we will begin to call the names of the 2020 graduates. So, my 2020 graduates, if you want to, you are now at this time able to turn on your cameras And family and friends who have joined us, feel free to clap, cheer, celebrate these accomplishments because our friends and family have come so far and we can only thank God. So feel free. We're going to give the graduates to 1 minute quickly to prepare themselves, and then we will start calling and recognizing our 2020 graduates. Sister Michelle Ford, we thank you so much for your words and your encouragement for our class of 2020. I'll give us another few seconds and then we will begin calling our names. And at this moment, we will begin to recognize the class of 2020. Graduates, as I call your name, you'll see your picture up, and family and friends, feel free to cheer and celebrate our graduates. I'll start with the Bible verse. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and the future. We will look at our pre-K graduates. And as Elder Ben and Kuma said, if you want to be able to see this properly, make sure that you pin the screen that has the V mix. Okay, so make sure you look through your Zoom call and pin the screen that has the V mix. Our first name to call is Mr. Callum Agassi. Woo! We are going to recognize Joshua and Chroma.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to recognize Papa Aseda Sachi. We are going to recognize Miss Michaela Achampong.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. We are are going to recognize Mr. Judah Donko.
Woohoo!
We are now going to be moving on to our elementary school grade graduates, okay? And our first name we're going to call is Mr. Jason Boache.
J. Oh, yeah.
The next name we're going to call is Miss Chelsea Entry.
Go, Chelsea.
Congratulations, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Next name we're going to call is Michelle Entry.
You did it, Michelle.
The next name is Mr. Aaron Sarkodie.
All right.
Congratulations, Aaron. The next name we're going to call is Angela Apple. Congratulations.
Hi, Angie. Congrats.
We are now going to be moving on to our high school graduates, okay?
That's a good.
The first name I'm going to call is Thaddeus Apiag.
Woohoo! Hey. Woohoo!
Congratulations. The next name I'm going to call is Marian Frimpong.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
The next name I'm going to call is Abigail Baywow.
Go, Abby.
Love you.
Love you too.
The next name I'm going to call is Papa Yao Frimpong.
Yeah. That's right.
The next name I'm going to call is Miss Audrey Sarkodie. Woo! The next name I'm going to call is Jolene Darko.
Yeah.
Oh, Uncle Joe.
And now we have reached our collegiate level graduates, okay? The first of all is Miss Akia Abra.
That's right. Congrats. I just copy the Judy.
The next name is Miss Congratulations. The next name I'm gonna call is Afia Asay in Tansa.
That's right. Congratulations.
Thank
you.
The next name I'm gonna call, last but not least, Dr. Hannah Wgsdac.
Life is good.
A big congratulations once again to the graduating class of 2020. Can we give a round of applause for everybody? At this point, we are going to call on Pastor Derek to give out our closing remarks and our prayer.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ashley, for the wonderful job you and then the education department is doing. I want to say congratulations to all our graduates, and also congratulations to all parents. I know that it takes only the efforts of our children to get to where they are now. So for prioritizing the education of your kids and for investing your time in the education of your kids, I want to say bravo to you as well, parents.
She was at church talking. She was talking to me. She said she will come to my house tomorrow.
Something good. It tells
Can
that
she come to my house now?
able to produce somebody who can, be our guest of honor. And it is also very good that we do recognize that even within us, we have been able to produce somebody who can be a guest of honor. And we thank Miss Michelle Forey for taking that, for being here with us and to be our guest of honor for this day. I want to say this to our friends who have graduated, especially from college. Michelle was talking about uncertainties. It is so true. So many things are not certain in our world today. But I want them to be assured that even for those of us who are already out of school for many years and who are already working and employed in other areas of life, even for those of us in those situations, nothing is set in concrete. Nothing is permanent and nothing is very, very predictable. But we all depend on God. So I would say that as you join the workforce or as you begin to look for something, let's all depend on God and let's all trust that God will lead you to the right places and to the right jobs. For those who are continuing in higher education, we are praying for you that God will help you and place you in the right places so that you can continue successfully. In all, may God bless you and congratulations. Shall we bow down our heads and then pray for all our graduates? Let us pray. Eternal Father, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you that when you begin something, you are also able to finish it. We thank you for the lives of all our graduates today. We thank you that through the thin and then the thick, through the tears and the hardships of school, the disappointments and sometimes failures, you have been able to guide them successfully through the levels of education that they all went through. We thank you that we can all get together as a church to acknowledge your goodness and to thank you and to celebrate with them. We know that when you begin something, you also finish it. We may not know exactly the places you have and the things, the vocations you have for our graduates today, but we know and trust that you will place them at the right places you have destined for each and every one of them. So as we meet today and we celebrate with them, we also place the next placements into your hands, that you lead each and every one of them to the right place, that you guide their foot, and you also show them from the landmines that are common out there in workplaces and in other places. For those who are going to the next level of education, we are praying that may you direct them rightly by opening doors that you allow and by closing doors that you do not want them to enter, that they will be in the right places. We also thank you for our parents. We thank you for the support they gave us, and we thank you for investing in us. As you bless our graduates, may you keep on blessing our parents in the Washington Church. In all, we say glory and honor be to your holy name, that this day can be a reality, and this day can be a day that we can all celebrate together as a church. We thank you and we exalt your name in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Let me just come in here. The next step that we are going to do now is we're going to do some learning presentation, and it will involve how to get scholarship or sponsor to school, subjects to take, and sometimes how you can prepare yourself well before you can get into school. So with this, I will invite Michelle to come out and give us some idea about some area that we can touch in order to get a good scholarship to go to school. So Michelle.
Welcome again, everyone. So I'm just briefly going to talk about how to earn scholarships. So we'll start. So why is it important that you talk about scholarships now? Because some are available your senior year. You need to also build your resume, and they require planning. So such as writing, whatever kind of scholarship you're looking toward. Who gives scholarships? So mostly colleges and universities, community organizations, and businesses. So when I say colleges, it's specifically the schools that you guys want to apply to. Sometimes they offer school-based scholarships, so you want to look into that. And then also, are there scholarships for you? There's scholarships for everybody. We have career-based scholarships. We have academic scholarships. There's financial needs scholarships and activity scholarships. So such as like sports. So the career-based scholarships, they go specifically towards careers like nursing, education, business, health occupation, criminal justice, math and science, paralegal, or IT. The academic ones are usually GPA based, so most of the time it's a 3.0 and above. They also have ones for standardized exams. So depending on what range, like you can also get a scholarship based on your score. Sorry, okay, and also class rank. So being top 25 to top 50% of your class. And then there's financial need scholarships. So if you get free and reduced lunch, you most likely qualify for scholarships that are financial need based. And then also the goal is to complete your FAFSA as a senior, which shows your financial needs. So at the end, they calculate your EFC, which is your estimated contribution that your family can contribute to your education. And that determines if you qualify for financial need scholarships. And then there's athletic or activity-based scholarships. So we have athletics, dance, volunteering, band, chorus, and church scholarships as well. And then also the last one, I think I mentioned athletic scholarships. So that means over 7.4 million high school students are athletes in this country. There's probably a little bit more. And about 460,000 go on to play college athletics. So that means that 60% of high school athletes compete in college, and of those, 2% are offered athletic scholarships. So it's a bit minimal on that end for athletic or sports scholarships. So just moving on, why bother applying for scholarships? Just look at it this way: time equals money. So if you spend 10 hours applying for scholarships, you earn about $1,000 in scholarships, and you just made $100 an hour. So if you think about it that way, it kind of makes you understand why you need to bother with applying for scholarships. And also because you don't want to be in debt when you graduate. So some of the myths and the realities of scholarships are only A students or athletes get scholarships. That's not true. Scholarships are based on all kinds of criteria. And then also there's too much competition for scholarships, or so why try or bother applying? And that's also a myth. If you meet the criteria and you're eligible and you're on the same playing field as other applicants, you'll qualify. And only top students get full ride scholarships. Few students actually get full or free ride scholarships. You just need to apply and apply and apply. And then also, what are some reliable places to look at scholarships? So first, you want to start with your school counselor. Also, colleges that you're interested in attending, like I said previously, clubs and organizations, and also online websites like FastWeb, College Board, educationquest.org. There's an extensive list. So if anyone needs them, you can reach out to me and I'll provide you with that. And so earning scholarships, you should do the math. So take challenging courses, earn good grades, get involved in activities, and volunteer. And that will equal you earning scholarships. And so that's about it for this part.
Okay, Dr. Kaba will continue with it. And Dr. Kaba is going to talk about how we can select a subject depending on the question that you want to go on. Dr. Kaba.
Hello, thank you. I think luckily for us, most of the early years, the courses are usually approved programs or follows the curriculum. So I'll talk mostly on the high school and then college. And each high school usually has its own requirements for programs of completion. In the secondary, you're required to follow an approved program that will lead you to graduation. That will lead you to graduation. The required courses usually focus on progression in the core subject areas, while elective gives you the choice to to fulfill your individual graduation or requirements. So these courses, most of them are, or the core courses are math, science, and history, and then English. So with the math, you usually begin with Algebra 1, followed by Geometry, Algebra 2, Pre-Calculus, and Calculus. And with science, progresses from Biology to Chemistry, Physics, and finally Earth Science, Space, and Sea Sciences. Then you have History, which begins with World Geography, followed by World History, United States History, and then Government. English classes typically start from general literature classes and progresses through increasingly difficult levels of literature, analysis, writing, and then for 4 years. Then within each of these core subject areas, there is usually an opportunity for choosing an advanced placement option or courses that can lead to college credits. So the whole of this talk, the key or takeaway point is that you should take your classes seriously, right, especially from middle school, but start from elementary or wherever you are, kindergarten. The higher marks you get, the better it is for you to be able to choose when it comes to the electives and the things that you want to do. So with the elective classes, there are a required graduation plan, but they allow students more flexibility in how they fulfill these requirements. So students can use electives to relieve pressure on more difficult classes or class load, and then to also enhance their college career possibilities. So depending on which career or what your goals are in the higher institutions, this is the point. These are courses where you can choose courses to learn new skills. And typically, there are fine arts classes like dancing, band, choir, orchestra, art, and arts theaters, 1 or 2 years of foreign language, and a combination of the following classes like physical education, which can sometimes be fulfilled by participating in team sports. We have speech, health, computer, which can include more specific topics like information technology and then all, like Microsoft Office. And as Michelle mentioned, the counselors are very important over here. They can help you. So meeting with your counselor can help you build your schedule around classes that will help you to reach your goal and career goals. If you already know what you want to do or you want to study, and then in which college you want to go, then you can focus on what is required for the entrance into the specific program. So if you, it's difficult to say that do this or that, but you have to go into the institutions. If you know, go to the institution website. They usually have information over there for each course. They have their prerequisites and all that you need to do. And the counselors are a very good source for you to do that. And then we have graduation plans. Most high schools will offer several graduation plans with varying levels of difficulty. An honors plan will require more years of advanced classes, that is the advanced placement, and will be more restrictive in and allowable in the electives. An academic or academically acceptable plan will require only a few higher level courses and will allow more flexibility with regards to the electives. So, and then we have minimum graduation plan, which require few or high or no high level classes, and may even offer work relief or free classes periods during the last year or two of your high school. If your goal or your goals are to or include trade school or work immediately after your high school, then the minimum plan, which most likely will most likely be sufficient for you. Working on an acceptable or honors plan will earn you more points towards class ranks and will generally be more attractive to private institutions. And in each institution, they have prerequisites. Those are courses you need to take to satisfy or so that you can move on to other courses. And each institution has different ones, and you can look for that. For example, if you're pre-med classes, you want to do medicine, then you need to do maths, health, liberal arts. And if you like to do biochemistry, then you have biology courses, you have chemistry courses, you have laboratory courses, and other requirements. So I think I will also end here, and when the questions comes, we'll be able to answer. But the key point you should take home is be serious, because the grace, and I think yesterday we also heard about the SAT and then the ACT. So the earlier you start, the better, and the more flexibility you have to choose your courses. Thank you.
I'm going to talk last, and I think I'm going to use about 5 to 6 minutes to summarize what I intend to talk about. To be honest with you, all the things that I want to tell you have been said yesterday, and I want to thank Dr. Okra for all that he told us yesterday. My subject is on those of you who are in 9th grade and 10th grade. 9th grade, 10th grade, and sometimes 11th grade. and actually I'll push you back all the way to middle school. It is always better to start thinking about your college from that early age of your school and what you want to do, as Dr. Carver has said, from that time. I am told, and I've also seen that the entrance exams to school, the PSAT, the SAT, and ACT, can be taken more than one time. For students who are trying to prepare themselves to go to college should not worry themselves doing it more than one time if the grade that you get for the first time is not good for you. And here again, this comes to the play of the parents. Since there is fees involved, we want parents to work with their children when they are in school, particularly when they get to 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. The 12th grade is not a good place to do all those things. So here I want to admonish our parents that our kids that are in school, if they really want to get into college, then parents must support them in this field. What I mean by this is that it involves money. But the first registration might be free, but the second one, you need money. But again, Dr. Okra said something here which is very important. When your child takes the first one, he should request for the test that he did by paying a certain token of amount. So they will send the paper that he did back to him or her for the child to review for the next section of a test that he can take. So he can take it the first time, get the paper, the second time he gets the paper, and then he can try it the third time. When he gets the paper and when he gets the second and the first and the second and review it well, he's likely to get a good test scores in the third phase. This means that the good test score means that he's likely to get a good school which goes with a good grant or a good scholarship. But if we allow our kids alone to think about this whilst in school, we are going to build a certain debt for these children to carry. When they finish school, they will owe a whole lot of money, and that will not help them to begin their lives well. It is very essential and very important that parents take note of this issue. Dr. Okra was telling us that there are two different courses which I know of. We have the SAT and ACT. The child can do both of them. Remember, he gave a calculation that if you even spend $300 for both of them for the 3 consecutive tests, and you earn about $10,000, it's worth it. So please, parents, let's be more particular about this SAT when the children are young. We start helping them from middle school, late middle school, they get to high school, 9th grade, you can start something there, and 10th grade, they can finish everything by 10th grade. Now, another interesting thing is that when they finish in the 10th grade with the scores, they can even get admission to school. While without even going to 11 and 12th grade, they can get admission there, and the admission will be sitting there for them as they go ahead for the 11th grade or the 12th grade to graduate school. So it is very interesting for us to prepare our kids earlier so that, one, they will get a good school to go, and two, they can get a good, money to support them. And then this will not help them to become a poor student by owing the government. The next thing that I want to say about this is this. There is a way that the church probably we're going to sit and see what we can do to help our early children to prepare for the SAT. There's a program in the church already, so we are going to sit together and see how we can help it. We will need contribution from almost everybody who is in the church, who can teach, to also help. So please, when we present this thing there, don't let people hide themselves from what they can do to help us. We should all come together and help us so that we can do the work effectively and efficiently. I want to end here, and then with the 3 person that has presented something today, the floor is open for questions. Thank you.
Okay, this is Peter Okra. I wanted to, I just came in. I just wanted to just add something to it if you let me. Okay. I think I just want to, Dr. Kappas, when I came in, the lady was just wrapping up, so I didn't, she was talking about scholarships and all. I think I heard part of it, but I heard Dr. Kappas. He was talking about a different type of graduation. I just want to make a comment about the minimum graduation requirement, which is like people who think they want to go to trade school or something like that. I think that I would discourage parents from encouraging their kids to take that path. That we should always aim higher. Even if you have an intention that you want to go to trade school, it's better to have at least the college admission level graduation so that if you decide to change your mind, that option will be available for you. If you have a higher graduation requirements, you can always go down. You can always go, because I know a guy who was in a top university, and he decided he wanted to be a plumber. So he actually left and went to school to become a plumber, and actually became very rich doing that. But the problem is that if you set your goals low, you cannot go higher. You'll be limited. So we don't want to limit ourselves by taking the easy way out, particularly at such a young age. One more thing, and I think I was at a church some years back, and the parents were talking to me about their kids. They said, well, our kids, they go to school, they do very well, they got good grades, they get all these awards at school, and but when it comes to scholarship time, they don't get that much money. And they were thinking, does it have to do with race or anything like that? And then I was like, I seriously doubt about racism is in this country, but let's do it. So I said, well, let me talk to some of these young people. So that's why I started asking them questions about the SAT and all these other. And most of them actually live in the same area, so they went to the same school district. And the school gave it to us. Now, how much preparation did you get? They gave us this little booklet, and then they come and take this. So they I asked them, what score did you get? They didn't even know what scores that they got. So that's why I want to stress, and everybody's been talking about that. Yes, we want to do well in school. There's no question about that. But we also have to make sure that we get the test scores to go with it. In fact, just to give you an example, I did a presentation not too long ago, and I was showing people here in Arizona, the University of Arizona. You can go to their website, and they actually have a chart that shows you what scholarship, the merit scholarship that you will get coming to the University of Arizona. And it's a combination of your, and I'm sure it's very similar to a lot of places also. It shows you the scholarship you get based on your GPA and your test scores. Here was something that was very interesting. That if you have a 4.0 GPA and you have a very low test score, or you didn't submit test scores, the maximum scholarship that you will get, having a 4.0, perfect GPA, they'll give you $5,000. Somebody who has a 3.0 GPA, and I think it was about 29 or something on the ACT, somewhere in that range, you got $8,000. So when you start looking at it, you realize that you need a combination of good grades and good test scores in order to get money. You can go to the Adventist University. For example, Andrews University, they just changed it just the last couple of years or so. They had a scholarship there that they whereby if you score in the top 1% of the SAT or the ACT, they gave you full tuition scholarship, and they didn't even bother with your GPA. They changed it a little bit, but still, it is still very, very generous. So the point is this, that we need to make sure that our kids are doing well in school, in good grades, and we also want to make sure they're preparing for college. And I think that when we do that, don't wait till the last minute, because that would be a little too late. I think that would be fine. That's why I just wanted to add to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much. Is there any other question? Obi wa semi bebusha. Ze hiapa mama min kan bio. SAT no ene ACT no hiama nkwala no ewo womo mra womo ewo lower high school. na ne nyinaa bɛtumi ayɛ yie a gye sɛ wɔn ahɛ ase afiri higher middle school hɔ no na wɔn ayɛ ho sua ne yie fi sɛ wɔn de si wɔn ani sisi wɔn sua a wɔn bɛhu wɔn nso a wɔn bɛkɔ akɔtwa ne yie ɛbɛboa wɔn ama wɔn atumi anya sika a ɛnkɔyɛ sɛ nkwadaa bɛkɔ school no mu tua school fees na abɛyɛ ka bi ato hɔ no na daakye bi no abɛyɛ ka kɛse ama wɔn ɛyɛ ka nso wɔn bɛtua wɔn tua nso a bi a na waba akɔkora na waba abrewa wɔ fie na wɔn nyɛ sika mmerɛw wɔn ani bɛbere sɛ wɔde akwadaa no abɛtena aburokyire no nyɛ sika mmerɛw na nso no ebi akwan bi so wɔamoa no amena nya scholarship bi ɛsɛ wɔn nya de kɔ school nti aha no hia ma yɛn awofoɔ no paa yie sɛ yɛbɛhwɛ nkwadaa no ama wɔn atumi akɔ school na wɔn asua na wɔn anya asua deɛ wɔ school mu na wɔn asua yɛ seti na wɔn atwa na wɔn atumi akɔ school na wɔn ato aso asua deɛ sɛdeɛ bɛyɛ a wɔn bɛnya scholarship na aboa wɔn na ɛka bi ameda wɔn ani aha ayɛ yɛ focus kɛseɛ paa ɛno nti na yɛyɛ saa discussion no mu nti wɔ question bi a wɔwɔ ho a mesrɛ wo wobɛtumi aka no twi wobɛtumi aka no bɔfoɔ and the children too if you have any question about the SAT and the APT Dr. Okra is here Dr. Kaba is here I am here and Michelle is here we are more here to answer some of the questions for you. So the floor is open.
Actually, no question. Idea na.
Dr. Okra, na me anu abodi na obusa.
Nim your be answer. Yeah. Yeah, then person may be fa community college ho. Say yeah, money bi wo ha, o ma dwen mo say okọ community college ana wonya ade. Nti advice be na mo betimi di ama fa community college ho.
Okay, that's the question on the floor. Obi wo advice bi wo ho.
I can actually speak on that really quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, Uncle, you can go ahead.
No, finish.
Okay. No, I think like Auntie was saying, is there's a bit of a stigma around community college, but ideally, I would advise people to start at a community college if you could, because I think, especially for those who don't know what it is they want to major in initially. So if you're going to go into community college, you ideally spend 2 years there. You can take the core classes, save money relatively compared to going to a 4-year institution, and then also kind of take the classes necessary to transfer into the 4-year university. So you take gen ed courses. And even, for example, right now, because a lot of schools don't know what they're going to do in the fall. So they may do online school. Like if you're intending to go to a 4-year institution, maybe reconsider that and go to a community college for 2 years until all of this kind of settles down and schools figure out the trend. But I think the stigma behind going to a community college, meaning that you're less smart or whatever, is false. Community college actually helps you out financially and also puts you in good standing. There's a lot of people who have gone to community college and done well after the fact. So yeah, that's just my little piece.
Okay, Dr. Kaba.
Yeah, thank you. I think you just touched part of it, especially when it comes to the financial part. I mean, you save a lot of money and you end up, at the end of the day, you get the same grade and everything as somebody who started with a 4-year. Especially if you go there, you pass your courses very well. I mean, you get good grades. You transfer to the 4-year. At the end of the day, it's the same. Nobody is going to trace back and say, and then you get your bachelor's or your master's. Nobody is going to say you started from community college and therefore you are less than somebody who started with the. You are in the same class. You get the same graduation, everything. Meanwhile, you spend less. So it's a good what do you call it option if you don't have a lot of money and you don't have scholarships. So I think we shouldn't look down upon it, and nobody should do that. They're the same. Thank you.
Okay, I have a slightly different take on it. It's more an expansion on it. Community colleges are good, like you said, if for financial reasons or if you were not prepared very well, particularly in high school, etc. But you have to look at what your long-term goal is, because you talk about students who didn't know what they want to do or whatever. So in that case, it'd be a very good stepping block to get started slowly to then figure out what you want to do. But I think that for me, I always look at it. You always aim high, and then you have a backup plan. Okay. For example, if you want to be an engineer, you want to get a bachelor's degree in engineering. You start at a community college and you were to transfer. It might take you longer than 4 years to finish that engineering degree. And so then you have to look at that, because there's a lot of courses that normally you have taken at a 4-year institution that you cannot take that at a 2-year institution because of the way that, say, the engineering curriculum is structured. And so you have to look at it as, what is my long-term goal? And the course that you're going to take at the community college, you have to know which 4-year institution that you plan to go to, and are those courses going to transfer, and not only transfer, but also fulfill certain requirements at that major, at that 4-year institution. Otherwise, you may end up spending 2 years at community college, and then go to the 4-year institution and take 3 years there in order to finish. So you also have to look at, what is my long-term, what's my long-term plan? And so that's the only thing that I'll add to it, that yes, you should not look down on it, but whichever institution that you're trying to go to, at the end of the day, you have to look at, where do I want to end up, and and then the plan as to how to get there. And that's all I will add to that discussion.
Sure. This is Ben. I would like to add to that a little bit. Yeah. So I think the three of you have all spoken well. It all depends on your long-term goal and other things, financial and stuff like that. Even if you still, I just want us to understand that going to community college does not mean you are less fortunate or any kind of, you didn't have the sharp brains like Michelle was talking about. It is actually good if that is the option for you. We want to make sure you have all the options. If you have the option to go to a 4-year college and have the scholarship and then be able to make the payments, that's good. If you don't have the option to go to 4-year, but you have the option to go to community college where you think you can do well, it's equally important. It may take you 6 years to finish, but you've achieved your goal. Some people will go to 4-year college with all the GPAs. They may not even finish in 4 years. So the key is what I think has been said. Just assess yourself, understand what is it that you want to do, and what are the options that you have. Going to campuses, talking to professors, talking to a peer, your friends and stuff like that, visiting campuses to talk to professors there and understand some of these things are all key. So the system is just there. Either you go through community college or 4-year. The path can still lead you to where you want to go. I know people who have gone through that, they still ended up becoming good engineers, good physicians, nurses, and stuff like that. Now, having said that, I wanted to add to something that was said earlier. I think Michelle touched on it during her commencement speech, and about graduating and getting work and stuff like that. Sometimes we tend to focus more on our GPA, and then we lose sight of the classes that we take. We tend to take I will use the term cheap classes just to get good GPAs. We finish and we don't have the tool set that the employers are looking for. Sometimes I sit in my office, go through resumes, especially people from Ghana and other places, right? And not only Ghanaians, even from here. You look through, they have the GPA, but they don't have the tools. Let me use, for example, you want to be an engineer. You don't know programming, right? I'm not saying every engineer should know programming, but if you look at the curriculum in this country, for instance, programming is key. Even if you want to model something, you want to do anything, then there are certain, what I'm trying to say is, in your attempt to achieving high scores, grades and stuff like that, go for those courses that give you the tools, the hands-on education that you need. Most of us have finished, they go to interviews, they are not taken. Why? Because they don't have the tools. Everybody understands the theory. So sometimes they just want to find out the tools. Like I think someone just mentioned somebody had a GPA of 3 point something, and then he's getting a scholarship money of something. Why? They are looking for some specific things, those tools, and then such people have them. I remember we hired a guy. He had just a GPA of 3, but we were looking for some key things. Somebody had 4.4, 3.8, and stuff like that. But they've taken these light courses, and we couldn't hire them. But we picked this guy who has so if you look at some of your friends in school, they are always attending classes that are tough, classes that can give them the hands-on tools. There are tools in the courses that we take, and there is also the theory part. We tend to focus more on the abstract more, and then we could get good GPAs. Then we finish school, we don't have the hands-on education. So please, especially the high school students, the college students, look at the selection of classes you take. It's very important. Go for those tough ones that will give you the hands-on. 2, look for lead good lives. It's very key. In fact, most employers look for that. We want to look for the kind of lifestyle right from high school. And sometimes we see this from your credit activity. So lead that good life, be that good student, and the good grades, but with the classes, the tools that you have on hand, that employers will be ready to pick you on. And don't just focus on getting 4 and graduate, and you might not have the tools to get you the kind of work that you're looking for. I'll pause here and then probably chime in some other time. Thanks.
So, Miss Lona, I'm saying beside question, and I'm away, Kakra, Auntie Beanie. Okay, I'm saying beside community college question because I'm saying all my responses, they use the word a statement say, if you don't know what you want to do. And I think say that's one reason why Ankola Baby Philly say community college is not an option.
Yeah.
Going to community college, say if you don't know what you want to do, a opportunity.
Oh, I'm sorry, Auntie B line article.
So
Auntie B, and so like I was saying, it's not say just take it say one of the options you have on a community college. And that's why I actually came in to make that statement. It's not say because you don't know what to do. No, I would I argue say just look for the things you want to do. What are the options you have? Community college is an option. That's what I want us to understand. So don't think if you go to community college, you are not sharp or something like that. As at the time that you have community college and 4-year college, what are the resources that you have, the support and all that? Weigh all that, assess yourself. And if you think the best option for you is community college, even if it takes you 6 years to be to have a BS in engineering, take it. I have friends in my PhD classes. They had gone through electrical engineering for 6 years. They still made it, and they became electrical engineers doing PhDs at that time, right? So that's why it's the option. Just look for what works best for you, and then just focus on that.
Just to add to what Dr. Nkrumah just said, there's something that some of us probably don't know that community college also offer. But the most important thing that probably we need to emphasize on it is that if you want to take a career, you probably have to look at the courses that will help you to achieve your career in the next phase of the school that you're going. There are certain things that we, our parents, have to come in. I have seen so many students in even college, 4-year college, who do not even know what they're doing there. They keep on changing courses, and some of them have stayed there for a number of years there. And that is also very expensive. But again, when you come to community college and you excel, you also get scholarship. Some of the scholarships even take you to the college level. So we don't have any route to say that community college is for those who are not doing well, as compared to those who do well, who go to college. That is not there. In this country, most of the rich people even start their children from community college and lead them to college. So that is a good route to go with. But if you have the chance to go to four-year college, that's another option. We don't have to do anything else. So I'm sure Auntie B has understood what we are going now. Is there any other question that we have to answer now? I think we have about 5 minutes more.
Hello, Petro. This is Oscar, and I just wanted to chip in a little bit. So we had a COPE session 2 weeks ago, and we focused on college and high school, and picking a course and all that stuff. I don't think we should be too. The whole idea of getting the scholarship and getting financial aid and all that stuff, it's very important. But to look at community college as a point of, I'm agreeing with what everyone is saying. To look at community college as a way said, you don't know what you're doing, that's not right, because even some of us, people that went to 4-year colleges, you start with a major and then 2 years later, like, you change it. So, and the panelists that we had in our session 2 weeks ago, it seems like almost all of them had to switch their major 2 years into whatever school they went to. So we can't look at community college as, oh, if you're not ready or you don't know what you're doing. Like, most people go to 4-year colleges and they still don't know what they're doing. I myself was included. When I started with one major, 2 years later, I changed to something else. So we can't look down on community college in any sort of way, and some people even go to 4-year school, and after that, they can still switch whatever, plan they had, they had intentions for. So, we can't look down on community colleges in that sense. It would be nice if you have if you had the financial assistance, if you have scholarship to go to a 4-year school, but going to a community college school, going to a 4-year school, it's just different routes. So as Dr. Nkrumah said, whichever route works best for you, you take that route. You can't look down on either one and think that one is better than the other. So that's something I wanted to share, because our panelists 2 weeks ago, we had 6 panelists who recently graduated school or still in college, and it seems like they all had to switch major or change whatever their intentions were when they were going to college. So let's not dwell too much on that. That's something I wanted to share too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions?
I can't overemphasize on the courses we take. It's very important. I know we've said so much about all the other areas and stuff like that. Please, knowing what I know right now about hiring and stuff like that, the classes you take. For some of your friends in maybe the medical fields like nurses and stuff, because the classes are usually there, so they know they take nursing classes and blah, 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 they can easily become a nurse or physician or whatever they want to become. For all other groups, the classes you take, your selection, sometimes the semester comes and you have all that. There are some cheap ones there. Please, as much as possible, spend time and study and go for those ones that will give you that hands-on kind of tools that you can utilize and leverage when you have work to do and stuff like that. They are very important. The college students, if you've just started, if you've just finished high school, going to college, I don't know how to overemphasize this, but very, very important. You want to finish and have the tools you need, you really have to go and work. Very important.
I just want to say something.
Go ahead.
All right, this is Eric. I think all that I've heard is correct, especially what Dr. Nkrumah just said about the option. You have to decide all the options that you have. There's nothing wrong with community college, but one thing that I want to say about community college is, if you want to go to community college, you have to make sure you graduate if you really want to transfer to a 4-year college. Else, most of your credits will not be taken. So that is something you have to be very, very careful about.
unless you make sure you know the school that you're going and the school is going to take all the credits that you've already taken. Because most community colleges have agreement with some four-year colleges. So you have to make sure the college that you go, they have an agreement to be able to take all the credits that you've taken once you graduate. Else most of the credits may not be taken. That's why some people have to go and spend another 3 years or 4 years over there before they can graduate in the four-year college. So make sure if you want to graduate you want to go to, let's say, Howard County, and then you want to go to University of Maryland, make sure they have an agreement with respect to the courses, the degree that you do in Howard County. If that degree or that specific degree will be taken entirely, specifically with the specific courses that you've taken. Another thing that I want to add, which Dr. First of all, what I heard about if you go to community college, you don't know what you're doing. I don't think the comment was made in a way like you don't know why you're going to that school. I think the comment was made basically meaning that, oh, you don't know which major you want to do. In other way, it's based on the options. In other way, based on the options. But the last thing I want to stress with the courses that Dr. Nkrumah was saying, the selection, which is basically the electives. Because we know any degree that you want to do, so far as the core courses are already designed. It's already there. So you know what you're doing for the main courses. The hands-on, the practical ones will be based on the electives. What you want to take to be able to, make it easier for you to get a job. You can take some other courses. We don't want to mention some courses which some people may like and might think maybe somebody is putting down on those courses. But based on the route that you want to take, you have to make sure that are they hands-on, are they practical? Most of the practical ones, programming, whatever, are very difficult. But those are the ones that are going to get you a job. So it's something that we have to, think about when we're trying to select our electives. They're very, very important. Don't go for the easy ones to graduate. Go for some courses that are very complementary, that will help you in what you already have to be able to get you a job. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Let me ask you this question. We are talking about how to make choices, how to select courses, how to make choices for schools and other things. Who are helping our young children to decide on these things? It's true that they have counselors in the school. Does it mean that the students don't go to the counselors or parents are not helping them to do it? Which one can we do to help these kids?
Hello. Let me chime in with the counselors. I was at Woodbridge Church a few years ago, and I actually went to the Woodbridge High School website to look for some information. And something that I found is that they graduate every year at high school. They graduate about 600 to 800 students in there. And then I went to their department and I looked for the counseling department. They had a staff of 13, the director, the secretary, and some counselors that deal with behavioral stuff and all this stuff. I was looking for a college and career counseling. There was only one person in that office at that high school whose job was to do college and career counseling. So think about it. You got a high school that graduate, say 800 students. So that means that there's a high school that's almost 3,000 students, and you have only one counselor for college and career. If you divide that person's time, there's not a whole lot of time this person can spend per student. So even if you're just dealing with the high school seniors, that person has to deal with about at least 4 of them one time for the whole academic year of 180 days. So there are not enough resources in the school to help the students out. And that is why I always stress that one of the things that we can do in our own churches is to have a group of people there, tap in the resources that we have, people who are experienced, people who've gone to college, people who are professionals, and those become our own, because there are people who pay people a lot of money for them to counsel their kids, even helping them putting together their college applications. In fact, there was one woman up in Massachusetts who charges, I had her fees, she has a 4-day college application boot camp that she charges $15,000. I mean, that's ridiculous. Right? So the point is that we need to be able to create the resources within our community so that we can use that to support our kids. If we rely on the schools, I'm sorry, that's not going to cut it. For example, even the counselor who's at the high school, what are the choices they're going to give to you? How many schools do they know about? What are they familiar with? And so they would just be piling all the students. You go over, oh yeah, apply to this school, apply to this school, and they're not going to have time to look at your kid and assess them and give them some real detail. But among ourselves, we know our kids. When I say our kids, I'm not talking about just the parents who bore those kids, but those of us who are also part of the community, part of the church, all the staff, that we know these young people and working with them, and we become a much better resources for guiding them than what they can get to school. I don't say they should not go to their counselor, but what I'm saying is that the counselors at the school are very stretched, very thin. Some schools don't even have them. And if you go and look at the training that they get for their Masters of Education degree, very few of those have courses that actually include college and career counseling as far as the course that they took. And so I think that we need to step up and do what we can, because we have the resource, we have the people, we have the knowledge, we have the experience to be able to guide these young people, and that is what we should be doing.
Thank you, Doctor. Is there any contribution elsewhere?
Pastor, this is Kismet, if I may. So it seems like the conversation is college. So if you will permit me to derail it a little bit, digress just a little bit, because I feel from my personal experience that as a Ghanaian and having Ghanaian parents, it is very easy to be put in a situation that I found myself in. So it is very easy having Ghanaian parents, is that I think, and I heard this from somebody, and it made sense to me, that sometimes people can be promoted or elevated to their level of incompetence, right? So I think oftentimes as Ghanaians, our parents, as good as they are and as loving as they are.
We are not hearing you.
No, I can hear you.
Yeah. All right. So can I keep going?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm saying that with our parents, as good and intentioned as they are, oftentimes are afraid to help us make that decision when it comes to college education. And the reason why I'm saying this is because not everybody should be in college. And oftentimes that statement is hard to make in a Ghanaian household, in a Ghanaian family, and in a Ghanaian church. Why am I saying that? I'm in IT, I have a good job, I have a good life, I make good money, right? And I got the college degree after I got the job. And it wasn't until I realized, somebody told me who was in the industry, that, hey, if you're trying to be successful in IT, it is the certifications that they're going to be asking for. Certification this, certification that, certification this, certification that. So after 5 or 6 years of college and almost $80,000 in debt, I have to now go and do all the certifications. So it clicked in my head. I'm like, wait a minute. So if I got to go through this, why not just do the certification, get the job, and then get the company to pay for the college education, which most of them are willing to do. Right? So I'm saying that for the kids that have graduated high school, that are getting ready to go to college, that are being, I use this word, and I'm not saying everybody's doing it, but I use this word, that those that are being pushed into college education, let's study our kids, because I think most people who are not going to do well in college have given you that demonstration in their senior year. They've told you that they're not the kind of person that's going to sit there and study on their own. They're not going to sit there and not plagiarize their essays. So if they've given you all these signs and you throw them in a college setting, they're going to flop. They're going to fail. And what I found from my personal experience is that all the schools that I went to, that I have interacted with personally, the school just do not have an incentive to keep me educated. Their incentive is to keep me enrolled. right? So they will string me along for as long as they can so I can continue getting the financial aids and getting all these loans, because they get a portion of it that's undisclosed to me. So the incentive for the whole organization is to keep the organization running. It costs a lot of money to keep a college campus running. So you need students to be enrolled. So what I'm saying is we're sheep to the slaughter. So I'm begging, and this is just me, my personal life, that if I love my mom, I love my dad, God bless them, but if they had told me, or at least made it okay for me to be able to say, I don't think I want to do college after my first or second year, right? I would not be in the hole that I that I find myself in now, and I would not have spent all that time trying to get a college degree when I could have done it the other way around, right? And one thing that I discovered as well from if you have college credits, and this is something that colleges don't tell you, that there is something called retroactive credentialing. Right? And I didn't know this. I mean, I've dealt with so many colleges, and they don't tell you that, hey, all the college credits you've taken from all these schools, you can go back to the college that you just enrolled with and tell them, hey, if I'm trying to get a 4-year degree and I haven't finished a 4-year degree, I have acquired enough credits to get an associate's. Use all those credits to give me an associate's degree. And they will do it without any questions asked. But they don't tell you. So you're going through college applications, not college, job application, and they're asking, hey, do you have a college degree? You're saying no because you think, oh, I'm trying to get a 4-year degree. Now realizing you have 60 credits, you have 70 credits, you've already met the qualifications for an associate. So you can just ask the school to give you the associate's degree. And now you can put on your resume, I have a college degree. So that's just something that I want to share from my personal experience, that most of us, as we go to college anyway, the end goal is, I want to be a good person, right? I want to live a good life. If I want to get married, I want to have kids, and I want to be able to support my kids, right? So if the end goal is you just want to be able to support yourself and your family, right? Then it can be done with college, yes, but it can also be done without a college degree. And I think if we give both sides to the story, we seem to keep emphasizing the college because I think that's where we all want to go, and I think it's a little imbalanced. That yes, and I say especially for the people that want to do IT. I mean, I can't speak for all the other professions because this is what I know. The people that want to do IT in the IT field, in the company that I work for, most of the hiring decisions that are made are not based on college degrees, based on skill set. And those skill sets won't come from the college degree, they come from the certifications. Right? So that's my piece. Thank you.
Testament. I think I will tolerate another question so that will end the show today. I really like the way you said it, because I think somebody has once told me about these certifications. And it is good that you brought it to our notice. We would also sit down with the education team and then work on that one. There are certain things that I got from the discussion this afternoon, which is more important to the welfare of our children. One of them is if we can establish our own church resources where children can be receive some information before they can even do their SAT or do their education, make the choices to go to any school or the courses that they want to do. And I will take this thinking and discuss it and then talk to the church at large. So thank you for your contribution. Is there any other thing that probably somebody wants to add to it before we call it a day?
Yes, may I speak, please? May I?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. So I think back to the point of ensuring that we are able to provide guidance. I believe that as a church, Washington, in fact, I'll start with Wgsdac. We started with a mentorship program, and the goal was to try and get a lot of people that have the experience and to be able to bring them on board and then use them to assist up-and-coming ones and provide guidance and direction. And even in Washington, I do know that we have started a mentorship program. I think the challenge at times is that a lot of these initiatives are not supported. And then with time, when something comes up, we will go back and reinvent the wheel. So I would say that let's keep our eyes open and try and support some of these initiatives that are already in place and make them, stronger. That helps a lot. It's always important also to realize that it doesn't matter how highly educated somebody may be in the church, but at certain levels, I would say that when it comes to college or when it comes to high school, almost invariably in certain areas, those that are in college may have the right information or the most appropriate information that will guide some of our people in high school more than somebody who is doing a graduate program. And I'm saying this because the information they provide may be more relevant. So I would like to say that let's try and assist with that and put all hands on deck. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is that, and I'm glad K-Smith brought this issue up, but he focused on the fact that he's saying this based on his field of specialization. In other fields, what he's talking about does not work. You have to get the degree, and after the degree, you will need some certification before you be recognized. So the certification would not come before the degree. You will get a degree. In other professions, you need a degree, and then as you get the degree, is even the starting point. At times, you're not being recognized as a professional without a professional certification. So that I'm glad he said that he's basing his comment on what he knows, which is the IT field. But I just want to support the point that he made that in other fields, it doesn't work that way. You need to get the degree before the certification. But the last thing I want to talk about is one issue that we don't normally address as students and even as parents, and that is obtaining the soft skills. These are really, really very important. We focus on the technical skills, the things that people learn, and then they become subject matter experts. They're good on your resume. But you need to realize that at the end of the day, in most workplaces, we'll be looking at communication skills, and I'm speaking as a hiring manager. And in that case, we're looking at people that will be able to work in a team. So you're looking at active listening, negotiation, persuasion, and influence. You're looking at presentation, meeting skills, even how to receive and give feedback. These are skills that are really important, but if you're not careful, you will never have a course that teaches that. So there are webinars that may be organized, there are seminars that may be organized that will focus on these areas. You should not be focusing on your biochemistry, your physics, and your core courses at the expense of these. They are very important. Some of which could also be focusing on stress management, because eventually you go to the workplace and you realize that there's a lot of stress and you need to know those coping skills, strategy tools that are available, problem-solving skills, decision-making skills, time management skills. These are things that people look out for, because I'm hiring transportation engineers at level 1. The basic issue is that the courses are common. They are taking all the courses, but I have a team or I have a project that I want people that will be able to fit into those teams, those project teams. So I'm looking at how good they are with teams. Do they have time management skills? Do they have team management skills? So I'm saying that these are also things that are important for us. And you learn them through seminars or websites. Let us try and focus on these soft skills in addition to the technical skills. And when we have mentors and counselors guiding us, it helps us. You can also obtain some of these through professional associations, because they would have some student membership or student affiliations where you don't even pay anything, or if it's something you pay, it's nominal. So let's not forget about the soft skills. They are really important. At times, they don't even let you know why they are asking you to work in a team, in a lab at school. But the goal is to try and make sure that you'll be able to fit into a team. You would realize the team dynamics, the things that people do in a team that may derail the team, the things that you need to do as you are rising so that you'll be able to keep your team on course. Those are critical things that you need, those critical skill sets that employers are looking for. Usually, unfortunately, they are not taught in colleges. So let's make an effort on our own to be able to acquire those skills through the various avenues that are available to us. Thank you.
Hello, can I add on? All right, Pacho, this is Yapipra. Just one little thing that I want to add on. My thing is that I believe parents should have a conversation with their young people or the student about their financial situation, because some students or young people believe that their parents have a lot of money so they can go to school, they can go to out-of-state schools, they can go to four-year college without knowing the financial situation that come with it. So when after they finish, they rack up a lot of debt, that like 100,000, 80,000, whatever it is that they have to pay. So my whole thing is that parents should sit down with their young people, say that, hey, you know what, we are in the middle class, and when you're in the middle class, you don't get any concept of like financial aid that much. So that means that as a student, you're gonna have to go to school with a lot of loans. So after that, when you graduate, you're gonna have to pay all these loans. So I believe we all, our parents should have good talk with their young people. I also want to say this: the mentorship program is still on. So if you're in high school or you graduated this year and you don't have a mentor, please, I'm begging you, trying to find a way to communicate with me so we can talk to you, to find you someone who you can talk to about these things that we are talking about here. So please get in contact with me. If you're in high school, you're about to graduate, or you graduate, you're a sophomore, junior, please let me know. Okay, thank you.
This is Charity. May I offer a couple things here? First, I just want to respond to what Yao talked about just now, about parents talking to kids about money and where they can go to school in 4 years and so forth. As much as I appreciate that comment, it would be ideal if parents could talk to children about that. But unless your parents have gone to school here in the United States or understand the complete experience of attending school in North America, they may not know what they don't know. So they don't know how to prepare their young people for American education because they haven't had the opportunity to understand it themselves. But again, there are some of us who have had education here who do know. And I think that as much as I agree with that comment, because the young people do need to know, maybe we could also, with our education department spearheading, Dr. Okra mentioned this earlier, that it takes a village, and we can establish a group, part of a subgroup in the education department, where all these informations that we're bringing, things that Michelle said earlier, things that we heard from Dr. Okra yesterday, and Pastor Dr. Ajaman earlier, all of these things we can put on some kind of website where our young people can retrieve, starting in 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, so that they know where the resources are. And also part of that would be maybe the mentorship program, where they can get mentors in fields that they're interested in. The other thing that I would like to mention, it just slipped my mind, I'm sorry. If I remember, I will come back again and mention it, but I wanted to offer that sometimes we're dealing with families who don't know because they lack that experience, and the rest of us can also pick up and help them with that process. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Kofiapia, I'm saying, your comments, which right here, Professor, youth leader, comments.
Okay, my main one or two. Let me say one or two things here. Maybe just one thing, but broaden it. It's all about information. Most of what we're hearing here today are true. I'll probably say all of them are true. They're just from different perspectives. It all boils down to information, 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 and information from whom, collected by whom, and things like that. Um, it is the duty of the students. I understand. It's their responsibility to get the right information. So whether it's community college or a four-year university or whatever else, it's all about information. You need to educate yourself. Your school counselor may be using a boilerplate thing to push 800 students through and cannot sit with you for a half an hour. They just have forms for you to fill. You like it, and your parents didn't say no. There you go. They might not be able to share all the information with you, which universities in your state or around or other places far from where you live at the other end of the country, which some students want to do so bad to move away from parents. But it all comes down to information. But I'll say that when the student has this responsibility to seek information, it's not going to be thrown on the parent, as Charity was just saying. It's ideal if the parent is in a place to help you out. And Dr. Okra is an excellent person to advise any kid. And if he is your parent, you got it made. It's pretty cool. But he may not be the one, or he may not be your parent. And therefore, you need to seek out some other people, mentors, the university's website that you want to go to, professional bodies, the state board website. So when we're talking about whether you should go to trade school or straight to the college, the question is, what are the requirements for me to go through these things? In a professional body, they can tell you that you can just get your certifications and later on get your degree. In other areas, if you do not have a degree, you are not eligible to even sign up for a certification exam, like the medical field and the finance fields. So those are all different, and therefore it all comes down to information. Another piece that we can look at is, I think Dr. Okra had mentioned that again. I'm just pulling the things that drive, that we could derive from the information then, and they drive the decisions that the student has to make. For instance, whether you go to a community college now, save some cost, and transfer to a university, sometimes there are certain scholarships that you have to get as a freshman. If you don't get it as a freshman and you come in later on, you will not be on that scholarship period. It's for 5 years or 4 years if you finish early, and it's a state program. Keep in mind that state universities are there, and then there is the community colleges that are local. These are all government-run organizations. So state universities are coordinating with local community colleges, and they have agreements to push kids from local community colleges into the universities that are close by. And what you have to do is study the laws of your state and how you are guided to enter the university. If it's going to be such that it will not help for you to be being such a smart person going from a community college to the university, then you have to start there. Don't look to save cost here. So again, it all comes down to information. Make sure you have dug very deep into your state guidelines and you know what it is before you make a 2-year mistake. Those transfer agreements, don't just look at the fact that there is a transfer agreement. Read that thing. Okay. And again, sometimes it's on our websites, and I tell students all the time, it's like, yeah, you saw that on the website, but you didn't know that I had $10,000 to give you as a scholarship. That I will never write on a website. Talk to somebody. It's all about information. And so all of these things are things that will help you. And I've had situations or seen people who wanted to get into a particular program. They couldn't get in. The university will give them admission, but not into the program they wanted. They stepped back out, went to community college, got good grades, and went and came back, and they were able to get into their program. So again, it's a strategy. If you have the right information, you can know how to play this game. Sometimes also there are coordination agreements between even two universities. Let me just give a quick example. We have a very close to us, a university that I think it's probably 2.5 or 3 miles away. But there is a 3+1 program that students can do all 4 years at our university, Syracuse University. But if you went there and did 3 there, you can do your final or your 4th year with us. Our tuition is twice theirs, literally, just twice theirs. So you can save that cost, but you're still not going to community college. You're going to a university. And it's all about information. If you dig deep and discover all of these avenues, you can always save a bunch on the tuition and not owe so much on your student loans and other things. So I just gave a few examples, but it's all about information. Research, ask, and don't believe anything that anybody tells you until you cannot unbelieve it anymore.
So, Pukaj, my video, best I'm not my wrap up on my so take over.
Thank you all for all that you have done for us. Thank our teacher, Dr. Kofi Apia, and then our Friday presenter, Dr. Okra, and Ashley for all that he has done for us today. I hope everything that has been said today is good for us, and we will work on it to upgrade ourselves so that our kids will find a good and a better future. With this, I want to thank you again for also playing a role in this discussion. I want to hand over to Elder Nkrumah to finish up with everything that we have done. Thank you.
Your pastor, yes, say. Na what we mu dwumadi ni nyina because yati bebre na ya bosso mentorship program e wo ho tutoring program enra openi prince my asote say because the resources bebre ho said the mpanyimfo kana ssɛ yɛ hwehwɛ tuma yɛn follow saa nneɛma we nyina ebre kwa anim no na yɛnya mwa bebi a uhia mwa say free mpanyimfo akasa ni nyina bia ho no gidi sɛ ɔmo edbe ma mo hu mpanyimfo na young folks no they will direct you when you have the appropriate information. Asafuma, any parents, your GDA said they acting throughout the day, more for education, if I can see an engineer, so yen 2 more and yen spend it on their education or Chinano will spend less. If we don't spend less and or Chinano will spend more on the problems they create for us, and my spending more time and our Mususano. Na yentimi nyesika emo ho ba nyesa ho bewie no na abeye burden amaye awatwi mu nyina adwumadie no ebekoso efiada ye wochina akosie ye ya disua beba so ebnada ma ne de beba so kwiada ene fiada de yesre pa ne say a free Friday eko osofo ehye series kese asekra throughout July nyina. I don't think so. Pesa obe missing. Adofua ebehwe ni nyina no. Mama embra free July nyina programs we bro have did say break anim osofo ni mpany for be introduce ni nyina ma yehu. But yen siesie ye homma sa series osofo de ehye efiada nwura ebe ne memene da wi ani nyina na yen follow sa enema ekoso nyina. Ye kɔ yenim no nyema pii hwa ye de beba. Na afia maya so atem say ya fire brebre ende mo fa nche na ye de adwumadi ni nyina besia